Hey everybody, another GMG review. Today we're taking a look at the Death Corps of Krieg Army box, which is up for pre-order today from Games Workshop and was kindly sent along as a complimentary review copy. Now this is a big box full of miniatures, as well as other fun stuff. We get a set of the army cards, which are enormous now. It's big old double pack here of cards, and we get a cool little like box sleeve to transport all this stuff in. So these are all in postcard size. They're like 4x6, and include all of the unit profiles in the game, as well as the, well, for the army, as well as the sort of like things you need to remember, like stratagems, and the other kind of like requisite at a glance rules. So it is quite a bit to transport, but there's a ton of info printed on these, including your army rule, and your voice of command stuff, like all your orders. And then, of course, all the stat sheets for these and the new units that have been added to the Imperial. I'm just going to call them the Imperial Guard. I can't call them Astramilimperial. My brain refuses to learn that information in the same way that it refuses to learn modern Games Workshop paint names. It's blood red, damn it. That's the color red. You're also going to get a transfer sheet, the Krieg transfer sheet, and a handy set of instructions for building all of your miniatures. Thank God Games Workshop still sends out instruction sheets and doesn't just have a QR code that makes you go and find these things online, which I find incredibly frustrating. So in this box set, what are you going to get? You're going to get an artillery section, so big artillery bombard. You're going to get a special character named Lord Marshal Dreier. You're going to have a 5-man squad of combat engineers and 2 units of Death Riders, which are the big mounted Krieg models, which I was a bit surprised when the Attila Rough Riders came out. They didn't do like a double box to make both, but here we are. And lots of people actually converted those Rough Riders too, funnily enough, using these, which have been out for a while, the Krieg Kill Team miniatures, which is the way that you're currently able to get the actual Krieg Guardsmen if you want to make a whole Krieg army. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do the core features of like the stuff from this box that's in the new Astramilimperium, the Imperial Guard book. The Krieg Imperial Guard book is the special edition one that comes in this box. And and talk about kind of like a general overview of what's new and changed in here. First impressions, what's funny about this is time travels in a curve. What this book has done is this is more like a 2nd edition Imperial Guard Codex than it is like 4th through 8th Imperial Guard, where everything kind of got genericified so you could use any miniatures you wanted, like legacy miniatures. We've gone back now to, there is no like generic Imperial Guard infantry squad. All of the infantry squads are from a different planet. So you have a Cadian infantry squad, a Krieg infantry squad, a Catachan infantry squad, and I think that's it. I mean, there's no Mordian Iron Guard, obviously, and they haven't brought back the Talarn yet. But between that and then the Khazarkan and the Tempestus Scions and Tempestus Aquilons, those are like your key infantry pieces in the box. Another interesting thing overall is they put points back in the book. I thought they weren't going to do this anymore. They weren't going to have point values in their books. I was not a fan of not having you be able to play the game out of the actual book, regardless of if the points were up to date or not. And what they seem to have compromised on is putting the point values in, but then having the QR code and just a little blurb that says, go to, if you want to find the most recent competitive points updates for the game, go to this QR code, and this will be the living space this all goes to. I don't know why that wasn't just the plan from the beginning. I hope that's the plan for AOS again going forward, because we got 2 different books that go 2 different, like, it's just, it's the fixing a problem that you created thing that I find so incredibly frustrating, where it's like, you can have out-of-date stuff in books. Books go out of date all the time. There's a rise, there's FAQs. You could, and putting the portal in there just solved all of it, which just seems like the obvious solution from the beginning, as opposed to we take them out, we put them in, we take them out, we put them in, we update everything every 3 months. This way, everyone's happy. The people who don't give a shit can play out of their book, and the people that do care can go get their updated point values out of the box. Speaking of which, this whole box set, I mean, this is to be expected. This is the, I'll say, I don't like saying it, the Astramilimperium. This is the Imperial Guard. Your guys are expendable, but you really see that reflected in the point values for regular humans in 40K. This is a 310 point box, and an average guard squad is 60 points. And because they've removed the granularity from 40K, we're like, a squad can get more expensive based upon what's equipped with. That's just the point values for these things. There's no upgrading stuff to make it more expensive. And yeah, if you want to deep dive through the Codex, remember, you're not getting that here, guys. We're too far past that. That's especially not for 40K. Especially not when my face gets scanned. Like, this is why we don't do a top-down camera for 40K books, because people scan it and my face ends up on all kinds of websites I don't want it on. So we're doing the sit and talk version of a book review. So let's talk about what comes in the box. Like I said, you get Dreier, who is our cool special character. You get as like the leader for this if you wanted to play it as an army or HQ. And then you're going to get a combat engineer squad of 5 guys with like the special weapons, all the varied special weapons, and then clubs. You're going to get 2 units of the Death Riders, and then you're going to get the artillery team. I am going to do some greatest hits stuff for the new stuff in here too, like looking at the Aquilons and the Ratlings, because they just got new models through Kill Team. And I do love that Kill Team is basically where new stuff comes out for the game. There is also a Krieg Command Squad, which is a Lord Commissar hanging out with a bunch of extra dudes, but this isn't included in the box, and I assume you can't make it out of the... I looked through the Militarum instructions, and I didn't see like a variable build option for the combat engineers that allowed them to be made as a command squad, but I'm sure you could convert them out of it. It's the remote mine and the special weapons that are on this frame, not really the command squad. Although there's like a sergeant option for making like a character that you could probably convert the command squad out of. So yeah, the Krieg Command Squad is led by a commissar, however, a Lord Commissar, and it's 6 models instead of 5. You've got your voice of command for your faction rule, grim determination. When this unit contains an officer, you can target this unit with stratagems even while it is battle shocked, and orders issued to this unit do not cease to be affected while they become battle shocked. So that's the funny Krieg trick, right? They're not afraid to die, so battle shock doesn't let stuff not work on them, which is a way usually for, making sure you can't use strats on a squad. Grenade launchers, las pistols, plasma guns, they're a typical command squad. They got a regimental standard as well, close combat weapon. You get alchemic counter agents. So they get a 6+ field no pain, and the word alchemic counter agent just means meth, by the way. It's just cocaine. The amount of people that were on meth and cocaine during the Second World War was hilarious. And so many people came back as like speed addicts, basically. So that's the Games Workshop's nice way of saying everybody's on speed. Alchemical counter agents. Yeah, these guys are more hopped up than like a first-year college kid ripped on Adderall. Then we got Marshal Dreier. This guy's pretty cool. I mean, he's riding a horse, or I don't know if it's a horse. It's whatever the mechanicum of whipped up that used to be horses, because it's got claws and like weird hands. 10-inch move. He's toughness 4. It's 4+ save, 4+ invul. 6 wounds, leadership 7, 2 objective control. He's got his las pistol, because of course he has just a las pistol. The Saber of Sacrifice, it's anti-infantry 4+. So he doesn't have to be strong, because he can stab regular people on 4s no matter what. 6 attacks, 2+. Strength 6, -2 and 1 damage. And then the Savage Claws, which is an extra attacks thing for his rider, or his horse rather. 2 attacks, 4s and 4s, -1. 4s and strength 4, -1, 1 damage. He's an epic hero, and he's got Feel No Pain 5+ and voice of command. He's tough to kill. The first time he dies, roll 2+, set him up anywhere not in engagement range nearby, and with D3 wounds left, and then leading the charge. When this new model's unit makes a charge move until the end of the turn, melee weapons equipped with this model have devastating wounds, and he can issue 3 orders per turn. Of course, he can be attached to Death Riders, because why wouldn't he be? Speaking of which, let's talk about the Death Riders that come in this box, because they're pretty cool, being that they're on... I hesitate to call them horsies, because horsies don't have hands, and they're super weird looking. But the Death Riders, they get Death Rider las carbine, so they have assault lasers, basically, 18-inch range, 2 attacks, 4s and strength 3 with 1 damage. They have the same 10-inch move as their boss, and it's the same toughness of 4 and a 4+ save, 2 wounds each, leadership 7+, OC 1. And they're a ride master and up to 9 more guys. So they come in 5s, so 5 or 10. And then their Frag Lance is D6 attacks, 3s to hit, strength 4, no AP, but it would be devastating if Dreier's with them. And then a Power Saber, which is 3 attacks, 3+, strength 4, -2, 1 damage. And everyone's equipped with all of this. And the Savage Claws for the steed are extra attacks too, same as Dreier's, 4+, strength 4, and -1. They have screening line. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move within 9 of this unit, if this unit's not in engagement range of one or more enemy units, it can make a normal move up to 6 inches. So basically they can like fall back away if they get within 9. And that's it for them. They've got the grenades keywords. They can use the frag, stratagem if they want to, which is nice. And compared to the Rough Riders, they're not as good. Like the Attilian Rough Riders have the Goad Lance that are 2 attacks on 3, strength 6, minus 2 damage. So I guess the Devastating Wounds is cool. And then the Hunting Lance, which are Frag or Melta, right? They have the option of like hurting tanks with that 1 attack Melta stab. Power Sabers is the same. Hooves are basically the same. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. The Death Riders seem like less good Attilian Rough Riders because the Rough Riders can fall back and charge. I mean, the Rough Riders are supposed to be the ultimate cavalry, so I get why they're better, but still not great. Let's talk about the artillery piece that's in here. Big old bombard that it is. Everything is alphabetical in here now, which is nice, but still weirdly divided up by like class. So it goes characters, then it goes units, then it goes weird units, then it goes artillery team. So multiple different guns. You get the quad launcher, and then you get the multiple rocket launcher and the heavy mortar and a siege cannon are your different options. It's got remorseless barrage. And just like the Cadian one, it's like the same core stat line, but with more wounds. So still a 3-inch move. It's toughness 7 though, because it's just better armored. 10 wounds, leadership 7, OC 3, because this is like what they do, right? They're like trench warfare guys. Remorseless barrage. In your shooting phase, after this model is shot, if one or more of those attacks made with an indirect fire weapon scored a hit against the enemy, that unit must make a battle shock test. If it's an infantry unit hit by one or more attacks with a multiple rocket launcher, they must subtract 1 from the battle shock too. So the multiple rocket launcher is better at pinning people. The heavy mortar, 48-inch range, D6 plus 3 shots, hits on 5s, strength 8 minus 1, 2 damage. So it's like a good Space Marine killer, although only hits on 5s. Heavy quad launchers, 40-inch range, 2d6 shots, hits on 5, strength 5, no AP and 1 damage. So like the Orc killer, or Gretchen killer, Termagant killer, I guess. Multiple rocket launchers, 40-inch range, D6 plus 3, hits on 5s, strength 2, minus 1, 1 damage. So weirdly low strength, but it has anti-infantry 3 plus, blast, heavy, and indirect fire. Everything's got heavy indirect fire and twin linked for, and blast for the heavy quad, and then blast, heavy, and indirect fire for the heavy mortar. The siege cannons, blast, heavy, indirect fire, 40-inch range, D6 shots, 5s to hit, 12 damage, minus 2, 12 strength, minus 2, and 3 damage. So it's like your bunker cracker. So you basically have like the heavy quads for killing infantry with 1 wound. The heavy mortar's decent for killing Space Marines with its 2 damage. The multiple rocket launchers for infantry, like on 3s. It's only 2 damage against everything else, but 3s to wound all the time against any infantry model is pretty great with blast and heavy indirect. And that's it. You just pick one of those for the whatchamacallit, the like type of weapon, and you take them in ones. They're not bad. I had 75 points. I think they're the 10 wounds and toughness 7 is pretty legit for keeping it alive. And that's your 310 points out of this box. Other new units, obviously we get the heavy weapon teams for the Krieg heavy weapon squad with their like Krieg heavy flamer. So he's got an 18-inch range heavy flamer for your nest last cannons, and then also the Krieg heavy stubber, which is heavy rapid fire 2 and rapid fire 3 and twin linked. Hits on 5s though. So like low rates of hitting, hits on 5s is crazy to me for guardsmen. They should at least hit on 4s. But strength 12 minus 3, D6 plus 1 damage for that last cannon is legit. Not twin linked though, which is weird to me. I guess it only has 1 barrel. It's the heavy stubber that has 2 barrels. The heavy flamer is cool as hell though. And then we got our Ratlings. So new Ratling rules, obviously for the new Ratling squad, although you don't get any of their cool, specialists. You do get a tank stopper rifle. Everyone gets a sniper rifle and a close combat weapon. Options are, if you have 10 models, 1 sniper rifle can be replaced with a tank stopper rifle. 1 guy can have demo gear. And if it has 10 models, it can be equipped with a Ratling battle mutt. So the basic sniper rifle, is heavy and precision, a 36-inch range, 3s to hit, 1 shot, strength 4 minus 2 damage. So I got a nice Space Marine killer. And the tank stopper is the same range, same to hit, but strength 9 minus 3d6 damage. Their close combat attacks are 5s to hit, strength 2, which is very cute. Infiltrate and strength, or stealth, sorry. Shoot, sharp, and scarper in your shooting phase after seeing its shot. If it's not in engagement range of any enemy units, it can make a normal move as if it was your movement phase. And if it does until the end of the turn, this unit's not eligible to declare a charge. So basically you can run away from people. The battle mutt, once for battle when this unit is selected as to shoot, it can use this ability. If it does so until the end of the phase, range weapons equipped by the model in this unit have lethal hits. And then you remove the battle mutt when that's happened. And then demo gear, you get the grenades keyword if you have the demolition guy. That's it. Those are the Ratlings. And then our Aquilons, the other kill team release, which I love the miniatures for. They fit the Scions enough that they go together. 6-inch move, toughness 3, 4+ save, usual Scion stat line, 7+ leadership and 1 objective control. The last carbine's Assault, 2 shots on 3s, strength 3 minus 1 damage. You get 1 Aquilon and then, 1 Aquilor Prime or whatever, and then 9 Aquilons. 1 Tempestor, and 9 Aquilons. The Tempestor is equipped with a Hotshot Las Carbine, Sentry Flamer, and you get the robot potentially as well. It's a Hotshot Las Carbine, Sentry Flamer, close combat weapon. Every Tempestor Aquilon is equipped with Hotshot Las Carbine and close combat weapon. The Sentry Flamer can be replaced with a volley gun or a grenade launcher. And the Aquilon's Hotshot Las Carbine can be replaced with a chainsword, a power weapon, or a Hotshot Las pistol. Everybody gets a bolt pistol and Hotshot Las pistol. Or the leader can. And then 1 Aquilon's Hotshot Las Carbine can be a Melta Carbine or a Plasma Carbine. 1 guy can have 2 Hotshot Las pistols. Basically, you get your specialists. And 1 Las Carbine can be equipped with a Hotshot Long Las. And if 2 Tempestor Aquilons can each have Hotshot Las Carbine replaced by a Hotshot Las pistol. So, yeah, you can have like all your specialists basically are legal to take. So if you made them for kill team, you can make them work for this as well. What a neat squad. Oh, I love the Servo Sentry. And they get Infantry, Grenade, Smoke, Imperium Regiment, Militarum Tempestus, and Aquilon. I think that's it for the new cool stuff that's in here. And yeah, and again, nothing's generic. All your tanks are still here. They're split by tank again, so it's not like pick a Russ, give it a turret. Although the main Leman Russ battle tank can still do that. So it's going to have either a battle cannon, a plasma cannon, or no, that's it. No, it's just still a core one. Yeah, there's no different turret. It's just have a Leman Russ or a Demolisher, which is separate with a Demolisher cannon, or a Vanquisher with a Vanquisher cannon, or an Executioner with a giant plasma gun. I saw the plasma cannon in the first one, thought maybe it was you can make it an Executioner. Nope. Or the Punisher. So I think the 6 variants are all here. Yep. Or the Exterminator or the Eradicator. Your Dorn, your Basilisk, your Hydra, your Manticore, your Wyvern. The Death Strike's still here. It's wild to me the Death Strike's in 40k. Hellhounds, Bane Blades and Bane Hammers, Bane Swords. Seeing toughness 13 in 40k still just weirds me out that there's a toughness that high. Doomhammer, Shadow Sword, Valkyrie. And you can buy the Aegis Defense line, which does not look like the old Aegis Defense line. The old Aegis Defense line is a very different miniature. This one's like a full-on terrain piece. Toughness 12, 2+ save, 10 wounds, 145 points. Friendly guys can set up on it as if it's a fortification, reinforced cover. Every time a range attack is allocated to a model, if that model is not fully visible to every model in the attacking unit because this fortification model, then they get the benefit of cover against the attack. And then defense line. While you have a benefit of cover from this terrain feature, you have a 4+ invulnerable save. So your guardsmen have 4+ invulnerable saves while they're behind it. And this unit can be selected as a target of a range attack. Each time such an attack is made, unless it's made with a pistol weapon, subtract 1 from the hit roll. If you're in engagement range, you can still shoot it. And then models do not need to make desperate escape when they fall back from it because it's just a piece of terrain. So basically it's a 40k miniature. Like it's a model, but it's not a unit. So like you can fall back from it, no problem. And as a platform section, up to 5 shield sections, up to 2 broken shield sections, up to 2 end sections. All sections must be connected to each other to form a continuous defense line. The 2 broken shield sections can be placed at the end of the defense line or in the middle. if such that they're within a half inch of each other, so you can't like string it out. A bunch of like deployment rules, so you can't just like snake this thing out and make it too much. But for 145 points, given whoever's in it, that is, you're given a 4+ invulnerable save. It's pretty cool. We have our Crusade rules, which I'm really hoping, God, I hope that we get a Crusade book soon that's like the new Path to Glory book for Age of Sigmar, where all of this stuff gets to get used, because that's what I want for 40K. I don't care about playing 2,000 point match play games. That I would rather die. Like, that is just 3 hours of my life I'm not getting back. Because my personal satisfaction is not based upon my ability to win a toy soldier game. But these storytelling missions look really, really cool. Tours of duty, where basically like you're trying to just survive because you're guardsmen. If so like your agenda for the guardsmen is the number of battles your crusade force will need to fight is D6 + 4. The number of victories you need to get is D3 + 2. So you have to win at least half your games basically in order to not be a failure to command. That's the most Imperial Guard thing I've ever heard in my life. And then you get logistic points and commendation points that you can spend to unlock all your upgrades. And then you assign your logistic points to 4 categories: either Lex Mechanicus for your vehicles, Material for like your artillery and your other like goods basically, the Tithe pool for your actual regimental units, like your dudes, because that's what the plants are tithing, and then Morale, just trying to keep the guys like brains together. And if you lose out on it, like you're either at 0 where you're in a deficiency for that category, 1 if there's no effect, like it's basic if you have at least 1 point assigned there, and then surplus is 2 and you get a bonus. So each of those things go up and down. And for each of those 4 categories, you start at like no effect, you have the logistic points, but they'll go up and down over the course of the campaign. And if you're deficient, for instance, in Lex Mechanicus, each time an officer from your army issues an order, roll a d6. On a 1, it's not issued because like your radios aren't working. If you're at a surplus, when selecting agendas for the battle, you can select 1 additional agenda to be active to try and earn more points, because like your communication, your intel is good. Material health, if you're in a deficiency, subtract 2 from the move characteristic of your vehicles because you don't have enough gas. And if you're in a surplus, each time a military test Astramilimperial unit from your army is selected to shoot, you can reroll 1 of your hit rolls when resolving it because you just got lots of bullets. The Tithe pool, if you're deficient in your command phase, if your warlord is not in the battlefield, you don't get a command point. And then surplus, in your command phase, 1 destroyed model, excluding characters, is returned to the regiment infantry unit from your army that's not in the battlefield and is not at starting strength. So basically, you just like have guys come in. And then morale, if you're in a surplus, improve the leadership characteristic of your military models in your crusade force by 1. If you're in a deficiency, you can't use insane bravery. And then you can give commentations like the Sacrificus Tempestus for a sign unit. If this unit's destroyed within range of an objective marker, that objective marker remains under your control, even if you have no models within range, until your opponent controls it at the start or end of any turn. Just like fun commendations that you can give to people. And then your agendas are things like hold the line. From the second battle round onwards, at the end of the turn, if there's no enemy units within the deployment zone and your Astramilimperial warlords on the battlefield, you gain an XP. Basically, you kept people out of your deployment zone. Requisitions, last-minute transfers. Purchase this requisition at any time. Select 1 regiment for your order of battle and replace it with a new regiment unit. Or select 1 squadron unit and replace it with a new squadron. You like swap somebody out. And yeah. And then you can get all kinds of battle traits. Dead-eyed killers, stealthy, sharpshooters. You can make them different like specialties basically for your infantry squads. Your officers get booming voices for their orders. Or have to settle old grudges to reroll hits against certain types of units. Vehicles can become like big game hunters. And then cool Crusade relics. Iconic accoutrement. Do you have a cool hat? The Aquilon Eye, officers only in your command phase. Instead of issuing any orders, make a leadership test to gain a CP. And then crazy like relics like the Star of Terra. You get a 5+ invul save for 1 of your officers. And every time you're attacked, you're -1 to wound. And then badges for the campaign. And of course, there's a name generator for 4 different systems. It's actually 6, because you can do Cadians, Catachans, Krieg, Talarn, Valhallan, and Vestroyans. So they left the Valhallans, the Vestroyans, and the Talarn in there. That's really funny. And the Cadians, Catachans, and Kriegs are the standard ones. So you can be like Vorsht. If you're Catachan, you'd be Hardhead Jackson or Fangs Lorson. Cadians are things like Creed, Lasco, Vance, Willem, Griff. And the Vestroyan things are things like Sinissa, Oliveg, Andrus. And it's point values and you're done. So there it is. A look at the new Krieg army set. So what do I think? Obviously, this is still Games Workshop pushing into, if it has a miniature, we make rules for it. If it doesn't have a miniature, we don't make rules for it anymore. But they're releasing new stuff and all the individual units have character, right? It's kind of a pain that the Death Corps are kind of locked in this box right now. So if you want to make an all Death Corps army, you probably are already purchasing these. But it's nice that you get a splash of all the new stuff in this box set to go along with the last box of Krieg stuff with the heavy weapons and command squad and little bits and pieces. So overall, I mean, it pleases my old heart because it's more like the way Guardsmen were when I started playing 40K in 2nd edition. I like the focus on the Crusade stuff. I like the name generator and little splashes of like detail like that. And because I don't care about the competitive side of it, I like that there's a variety of different ways you can play the army from different planets that have a bunch of character. I am sad that we've seen like an end to the build your own regiment stuff. You do that inside of the different regiments and from the different worlds. Like the Krieg would be painted different colors to be different regiments of Krieg. The Catachans would be painted different Catachan colors. We do need a new Catachan box set badly. Because all that's really in a contemporary sculpt is the command squad box. And other than that, there's no real Catachan stuff apart from Sly, I guess. So hopefully we'll see some of that in the future. But yeah, I think that I look at the Imperial Guard, the Astra Militarum, as like the control group for 40K. That's a regular human. That's our protagonist POV. So the fact that there's the individual person is still like this disposable cannon fodder, and they rely on their material, like their tanks and their ordnance and their artillery and stuff to get the work done. It's just fun. It makes them satisfying to play in the game table when that 60-point unit of guardsmen does something important to like the winning of the game, like holds an objective or storms a building. You feel good about it. In today's like arms race of like super units in 40K, does it happen very often? Probably not as often as it used to, but it still feels really cool when it does. And so I'm glad that they haven't like tried to make them a bunch of Supermen. Like we need, for Space Marines to be cool, the guardsmen have to suck, right? You need that from like the contrast POV in the game. And giving them cool tanks and cool vehicles and stuff to make up for it is pretty much what they've always done. So I'm glad that trend continues. The art in the book's great. I love the new Krieg stuff. The Krieg miniatures are fantastic. They're weird and grimdark, like the horses being weird and off-putting I really like. Yeah, and so more of that, please. More weird, grim darkness in our 40K experience. So there it is, the GMG review of the new Krieg army set. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll see you for more GMG reviews in the future. Thanks, Mash.